Fixed vein in Atlanta, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, we can hear you now.
Better.
Okay. Since I have a limited time to speak, just let me know when I could tell my exit joke before you hang up on me, okay?
Okay, you can tell it now.
Can be an entry joke.
All right, so that was my joke. Go ahead.
Okay. I kind of get it from watching many episodes of the show that not only do the host and co-host believe that Christianity is unfounded, but that it also does some hurtful things.
Sure.
And I was thinking, after watching you speak on June 12th, if religion is not to blame for the cause of homophobia, how can you blame them for anything else?
So your question is, if religion isn't responsible for homophobia, how could we blame it for anything else?
Yes.
Okay. If my car isn't responsible for your diabetes, could you still blame my car for something else?
Oh, well, my point with that is I thought religion would be the easiest thing to prove responsible for homophobia. I thought that'd be a very easy thing to go ahead and jump on religion and point the finger at religion for being the cause of homophobia. And if you can't jump on religion for that, well, what can you jump on them for?
I can jump on any religion for anything that it claims which is problematic or contrary to human values and flourishing. Is religion responsible for homophobia? Probably not.
It certainly perpetuates it, though, and reinforces it, and in many ways.
So what a lot of religions tend to do is take the biases, bigotry, and fears in life and provide some justification for them. So if you are the type of person who is absolutely terrified of the gays, and your religion gives you a justification that, hey, God says they're terrible too, well, now you feel warranted rather than just feeling like the bigot that you are.
Okay. I guess we should just try to move on to save time. I would like to ask, why do you coach Christians different from atheists when it comes down to trying to prove their point? I see a lot of times you give both of them advice, and you usually tell the Christians, well, what's your best evidence? But when it comes down to the atheists, you go and tell them, oh, hey, you're not going to change someone's mind in just one conversation. What you do is little by little you change their mind, and then they get things from many different sources. But with the Christians, you just tell them, come outright and give their best evidence. Why do you give them different advice?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm harder on atheists than I am on Christians, whether you believe that or not, because the one thing I despise is bad arguments, but I despise them most when they're offered to defend positions that I hold. And so when I see atheists making fallacious arguments, I go at them to the point where, well, it's cost me quite a few friendships because I won't tolerate that. But when we're talking about, you seem to be saying, oh, for Christians you ask for evidence, and for atheists you talk about the art of persuasion.
No.
That's not what you were saying?
When it comes to Christians, you want them to just have one big proof of evidence, while with atheists, you say, no, there is no magic bullet. There is no one good argument to make a person give up their Christian beliefs, that you have to work with them over time.
So what I said about asking Christians for evidence, their best evidence, and talking to atheists about what is persuasive is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that you ask Christians to go on one shot and you tell atheists to go slowly over time.
Yeah. So when I ask somebody for their best argument for a proposition and their best argument sucks, what makes you think it's going to get any better with the worse arguments?
This is where I have the analogy where for how you prove that someone loves you, because you can never do that in one argument. You have to pull forth many different things over time.
Sure, but if your first best evidence for that someone loves you is that they beat you, you've already lost.
No, okay, you're bringing forth a negative which can't be argued at all. Let's say you bring forth a great positive.
Thank you.
No,
the reason this is different is because atheists are not claiming there is no God and we can prove it. Atheists are saying you have not met your burden of proof that there is a God. So atheists don't have a position for which to bring forth evidence other than to respond to the God claims and point out why they haven't met their burden of proof. Now, when I ask somebody to present their best argument, that's in the context of the show, because we'd like to move on to multiple callers. But I don't think it's fair for you to imply that I'm only interested in a one-shot single argument when I've been hosting a TV show for 12 years, taking hundreds, if not thousands, of calls from all different people who could each present their own evidence, and all of them fail.
It fails because you're trying to analyze one piece of evidence at a time. Which, like I was saying, when you're trying to prove love, you can't just analyze one piece of evidence. Okay, you have kids with this person. That one piece of evidence could be thrown out the window. You say, oh, having kids with them does not prove that y'all love each other.
Correct. Having kids together doesn't prove you love each other.
That one piece of evidence, as long as they present you one at a time, you could go ahead and shoot it down.
Yes.
But with an amalgamation over time, then a person could be swayed.
No, if each one of those is a no, they don't add up to a yes if I just let them list 10 of them. 10 no's does not equal a yes. Why do you believe in a God? I'll give you two options. You get double what everybody else gets. Why do you believe God exists?
I don't know if you remember me, but yeah, like I was saying, that's not something I would like to try to argue for, to try to get other people to believe.
Okay, then I'll move on to another caller. Thanks, Fane. So this is an interactive show where we talk about what people believe and why they believe it. And if you're going to call in and you're going to say, I don't really want to defend what I believe, and you're going to, but why do you expect us to offer an argument? Why do we expect them to offer an argument, John?
Well, because this is a show about talking to people about what they believe and why they believe it, and to have a dialogue. And so if they call in and say, I believe in God, why don't you? Then we want to know why.
The other thing is, I'm baffled at the people who believe and are convinced that they believe, who simultaneously claim that they care about whether or not their beliefs are true. Because if I believe something and I'm convinced that it's true, I can either explain to you why I'm convinced that something happens to be the case, or I can point you to someone else who might be able to explain it better than me. By the way, I'm not just saying, oh, I'm going to point you to some scientist, because if I don't understand it, I don't believe it by definition. There are plenty of scientific findings that I have expert friends in those fields, and they are convinced that something is true. I'm not convinced because I don't understand it well enough to do it. I have this idea that it's a good idea for my internal model of the universe to match reality as best I can. And so when I tell somebody, give me your best argument, that is because if I don't say that, I don't get an argument. What I get is, well, you know, you can't just prove that somebody loves you with just a single instance. That's the type of thing that we get. Oh, look at the trees. That's the type of thing that we get if we don't. Let me just narrow it down. Give me your best one. Because if you've got 10 reasons to believe and your best one is crap, I might let you move on to your second best one. And if it's crap, then maybe we could go on to your third one. Where do we stop?
Well, like you said, we're at an hour and a half show, and if somebody wants to talk about the 30 reasons they believe in God, we're going to fill up the entire show, and we want to move on. So we ask for your best one so we can dig into that. And yeah, if that's not persuasive.
If you're a caller to this show and what you've seen is people who share your beliefs calling in, being asked to present their best argument, and every single one of them is flawed, then what you're really saying is they didn't actually present the best argument. And so my response to you is, give me your best. But if you come on and present as your best the same terrible argument that we've already refuted, what do you think that's going to accomplish? I mean, if instead of presenting an argument, you'd like to have a discussion about what would or should convince people of a claim, we can do that.